That you gave me the stars, put them out of my reach. Call me the waters a little too deep. Oh, I've never been so aware of my need. You keep on making me see it's way beyond me.
All right, I'm here at Oxley Park. It is May 1st. 2017, and I was going to film in the same spot I was here about 17 months ago, mid-February 2016. Many days have passed since then, over a year actually. So check it out, do the math. Here I'm at Oxley Park, and the river, if you can see the river behind me, is rising. I was listening to that Lauren Daigle song, I'm Yours, great little song. I'll probably put it under the credits somewhere here, but and I think I used that last year, in the video last year as well.
So let the waters rise, I will stand as the oceans roar. Let the earth shake beneath me, let the mountains fall. You are God over the storm, and I am yours.
Let the waters rise. I've been thinking a lot about that, about water, about Toby Mac song, Beyond Me, called me to waters a little too deep. Last night, actually, the verse of the day was in Psalms 42, and I think 42:7 is where it says, deep calls unto deep. And talking about when waves and water. And I was writing a friend the other day yesterday about this, and kind of had this thought. Study a little bit about the tsunami in Thailand, Indonesia in 2003, 2004. And I was just thinking about, and I saw a movie about that. What was it, 2007? Anyway, when the tsunami hit, you were actually safer. You were safer out in the deep. You were safer in the deep waters. The shallow waters, people in the shallows were killed. What waves came in, that tsunami came in and just killed 200,000 people, something like that. Saw the movie with Ewan McGregor about that, and Naomi Watts, I believe, was in it. Fascinating, terrible thing, but it's also like, oh, when the waters are coming in, when the floods are coming in, you got to get to high ground if you're on ground. Now, if you're on the water, it's actually safer out in the deep. In the deeper waters, the waves would go right underneath you, and the waters would rise a little bit and come back down. But the wave itself wouldn't affect, like the boats out in the deep waters, they were fine. Those who boats close to shore, and of course the people on the shore and the beaches and so forth, those are the ones that really got hit by it. Don't know what the connection. I just out here, and again, not to go into too much of personal laundry, but when they canceled the grinder, this past year was rough. I mean, it was, the grinder is my euphemism for all the other stuff that's gone on this year. But when life throws something at you, and it's, you can float. And actually, that's an interesting thing about going back to my lifeguard days, lifeguard day. I went to more training to be a lifeguard than I actually did actual lifeguarding. But in lifeguarding, they would teach you, basically, and this is kind of a truism of life, is people naturally float. So in normal circumstances, for people to drown, they have to get freaked out and strive, and and they'll actually sink, and that's how they drown. If you just relax, you'll float. Now now if there's big waves and these kind of things, that turbulent water is a little bit different. But in typical water conditions, like this river behind me here, you can float. I'm going to check and make sure it's actually getting in the river. Excellent. Okay, excellent. So when life throws things at you, and again, this is the thing that God's really been walking me through, is how do we respond, and how do we react? And then, of course, at some point, you can be proactive. So I went to a different topic, but they connect, okay? I went to a baseball game with some friends of mine a couple weeks ago, And I was sitting with my friend Chris and his brother Daniel, and I was teasing around, having fun, being a little dorky, which I'm apt to do, and it was bothering Daniel. Okay, it wasn't bothering Chris. Chris was like, yeah, and so Daniel at some point he got embarrassed, and so he left and went and sat by his other siblings, and then his sister and his brother were like, oh, you gotta mess with Daniel a little bit. And so I kind of teased him and did some dorky things and kind of walked in the stage and was like, hey, where's Daniel? Where's Daniel? And, everybody here, it was a college baseball game, but it was fun. But here's the point. And now, actually, my daughter Leah likes to tickle me, okay? And she'll tickle, and she's not very good at tickling. She's 6, almost 7 years old, but she tries. And so I, no, and I'm actually fairly ticklish. I used to be more ticklish. But the thing about embarrassing people and tickling people is it's only fun, and you only do it if you get a reaction. Daniel was fun to tease because he reacted. I'm going to talk to him tomorrow. I haven't talked to him since the game, so make sure he's not mad at me. But Leah, you only tickle people that are ticklish. People that are not ticklish, they're not very fun to tickle. And people that don't get embarrassed, it kind of takes the fun out of trying to embarrass them, right? So going back to the water and see if I can make this connection here. When things come at us, and the devil, Satan means the accuser. I think I mentioned this in my video last year. But he tries to get a reaction. He tries to get us to react, try to get us out of position. That's something God's been talking to me a lot about, is staying in position, staying where he's called us to be. And so the point of all that is when we get to the point where we're relaxed and things don't embarrass us, things don't tickle us, things don't, it doesn't get a reaction, then I think it kind of, whatever is annoying us, whatever is coming at us, it kind of ceases. And again, I don't know how the spiritual realm works, okay, exactly. I don't know about that. But if it's a battle, and you see this in Daniel, when Gabriel comes and then Archangel Michael comes, you see this interplay that there was a conflict, and it took 21 days, okay? But eventually, Angel Gabriel and the Archangel Michael prevailed, okay? So, in war, like in World War I, there was something called the War of Attrition, okay? And I don't know how in the spiritual world it works, in the spiritual realm it works, but there's got to be something that there's a cost to battle. There's always a cost to battle. And if the devil's attacking you, or his minions, I don't think the devil really knows most of us, but okay, let's say his minions or the principalities or whatever they are, okay, the stooges as I like to call them, as long as they can get us to react, it's worth it, right? When we stop reacting, when we stop being embarrassed, when we stop being ticklish, when we relax and float on the flood waters, when we're like, oh wow, these are kind of nice waters, I'll just take a little float trip, then it's not worth the while, and they move on to easier targets. Because I have said this previously, but the devil will attack us in 2 areas, in my opinion: where we're weak, where there's an opportunity, that's why the Bible says give no place to the devil, and where that's a key area, like your calling, or where God's positioned you, the devil's going to attack that. So either the important areas or the weak areas, okay? But the strong, non-important areas, he's not going to go after those. But the weak areas where you give him place, he's going to go after that. And the important areas, so areas that God's called you, he's going to go after those. And so those are the two kind of things. So anyway, that's just my little take for today here at Oxley Park. I just wanted to do a little ditty. Thanks, shalom.